Love, light, and blessings. Shamanic Hour Priestess here. And I wanted to make this video because the last couple of videos I've made have been really serious. And I wanted to make something a little bit more fun. Like I wanted to make more of a fun video and things like that. So I'm really excited to make this video. So with this whole quarantine and everything like that, it has given me a lot of time to reflect. So I've gotten back into reading more, studying more, and things like that. Because for those of you that don't know, I'm a full-time psychic reader, spiritual healer, root worker, and things like that. It's what I do on a full-time basis. I'm also a mother of 4 beautiful children, and things of that nature. So, I have a very hectic and busy life, but with the quarantine, because I'm not going out as much, only when I need to, I've had time to do a lot of spring cleaning, getting rid of a lot of things I don't like, that no longer resonate with me, really looking through my tarot collection, spiritual tools, and all these things. So it has given me a lot of time to self-reflect. And I've been thinking about items or things that I use in my practice very heavily. So this is going to be a video about that. It's going to be, maybe you guys want to do a VR to it. So I possibly might create a hashtag. So if you're interested in doing a VR to it, or you could just do it in the comment section. It's completely up to you. But I'm calling this video my top 3 of nines. My top 3 of nines, because it's going to be on 9 different areas of my practice that I kind of wanted to do my own unique little I don't know, video about and things like that. So for those of you that don't know me, my background is I'm an Afro Latina. I have both African descendancy and I also have Native indigenous ancestry, so Taino ancestry. I don't know why I'm stuttering. So I have Yoruba, Benin, Togo, things like that, Congo, and things like that, ancestry, as well as Taino. And I also have like American Indian, Apache as well in my ethnic background, along with, European background and things like that. So I'm multiracial, multicultural. So in the Caribbean, I grew up with my Puerto Rican family and Haitian family, and they practice Santeria, Voodoo, Espiritismo, and things like that. So I grew up around that background, and this is going to kind of be based on my traditional practices and the 9 areas, and the 9 areas that I chose to talk about, and the top 3 items of each of those areas. So it's my top 3 of 9 specific areas that are relating to my cultural practices. So if you guys want to do that, if you want to do a VR to this and think of top 3 things in the different areas I'm going to talk about that can possibly relate to your cultural background or your spirituality, I would love to see you guys take this and make it your own and get a conversation going and do something fun while we're all quarantined at home, or some of us have loved ones or ourselves that have to go out there and things like that. With everything that's going on in the world, it's just nice to do fun things. And this whole experience has been very reflective of me, for me, and things of that nature. I'm also going to do a tag possibly tonight, and I probably will release that video during the week, maybe Wednesday, because I do want to do a VR to Mystic Soul Oracle. I want to do a VR to her about tarot cards that are canceled. So, but I have to think. I've been going through the deck and thinking, because I want to really like give that tag my energy. And if you're wondering what happened to my nails, I finally took off the gel wraps. They were wrapped in gel, so it was like a dip powder wrapped in gel nail polish over it. And I finally got it off. I watched a YouTube video of a manicurist, and she said how you can get your nail polish, the gel nail polishes off. So I did that yesterday. It took me over 2 hours because I had so much of that powder and stuff, but I was able to save my actual nails because there were no tips. These are my actual natural nails. They have a hard time growing, so that's why I had them in dip powder to help stimulate growth in my nails and to strengthen my nails. So I kind of was doing that yesterday, but I liked how they came out. Like, I'm happy I don't have like a half, the powder's all the way down here, and you can see like I was just, it's not cute because there aren't any nail salons open right now. But Okay, so we wasted like 5 minutes. So now we're gonna get into the tag. So the first area I want to talk about is tarot. So like I said, I'm a professional reader, but I also read tarot for myself as well. So I wanted to pick my top three like most used decks that I always pick up and use a lot of. It doesn't mean that I don't love any of the other decks as much or things like that, but they are my top three tarot decks. So we're going to get right into that. And the first one is the one that I keep in here, which is the first deck. When I got a professional reading done, my mom treated me on my 25th birthday because I didn't know what tarot was, because as I've said before, cartomancy, so playing cards, was my first like deck of cards, if you want to get technical with it. And then I got like a oracle slash tarot deck and the angel tarot and things like that. But the ones that had the most impact in my path, that's how I picked the top three, would be this one, the Universal Weight, which is the deck that I got that was used by the professional reader that read me when I was 25 years old. And so I really love the coloring in it. I accidentally got the Radiant Weight thinking it was this one. So I was kind of sad about it, and maybe that's why it took me longer to connect with that deck. And then I finally found this one because I didn't know the name of it. I never heard of Rider-Waite or tarot or anything like that because I didn't grow up around that. I grew up around cartomancy and people that would channel and things like that. So, and this is the Universal Weight. So this made an impact on me because this is what got me into wanting to, learn tarot and things like that. So even though I used other decks because I did have issues, and I made a video about that with the devil card and things of that nature, which I no longer have an issue with, it was the deck that made the most impact because it's what started my love with the Rider-Waite. And this is like a second copy because my original copy got so beat down. Even if I was to trim it, edge it, whatever, it was no salvaging it because literally the pictures were missing. Like they were like scratched off parts to the pictures. It was bad. It was very highly used. So, and because I used it so much in my professional readings, it got beat up. So it wasn't cute no more. So it was used to the point where you couldn't even shuffle the cards anymore. So I still have that copy because I'm saving it for sentimental reasons, but this is like a newer copy that I have now. The second one I'm going to talk about is the Hanson Roberts, which is the deck that before I got Universal Weight, because I remember I had the Radiant, I kind of put it to the side, didn't connect with it. I had gotten the Hanson Roberts deck first. And this deck, I had a dream to get it, but I never seen a full walkthrough of it. And I ended up ordering it. And it was the first deck that I ever worked with that had the devil card in it. Like in its traditional sense, because it had like the Robin Wood, which has a completely different. Crystal Visions has the devil. It doesn't actually have the devil in it. And this helped to heal and make peace with it. When I actually looked at it, I was like, there are darker parts in life. So, all the cards in tarot are important. So I was able to make my peace with it, and a lot of the traumas that I had with people trying to discourage me using tarot and things like that. So this was a very healing, nurturing, impactful, game-changing deck for me. It really got me to buy the Universal Weight and to embrace more of a traditional tarot and things of that nature. I guess when I had the professional reading done, the devil card never came out. So that's why I didn't know there was an actual devil card. And, I had a lot of spiritual traumas and things like that. And I think that's another reason why that card scared me so much too. But anyway, this is the Hanson Roberts. And it's number 2 on my top 3 most impactful decks. It doesn't necessarily mean my all-time favorites, even though they are favorites of mine. But they're the ones that have made the most impact on my tarot practice and things like that. The last one I'm going to mention, okay, is, oh my goodness, it's a deck that I pre-ordered that I literally had to wait like 7 or 8 months for. I ended up doing, without even ever seeing the images of this, I just saw the name of this deck on my Amazon recommendations, had to order it because everybody knows I'm a conjurer, root worker. So I ended up ordering this deck. And I love it so much. It's like an obsession. I even had to do a review of it after I did the walkthrough of it. I highly love this one, and this is the Hoodoo Tarot. The Hoodoo Tarot. Like, I completely love this deck. And I didn't even realize when I was doing the 29 days of melanated excellence, a lot of the major arcanas, people and historical figures they used in the deck were people I was doing videos on without ever having seen the full imagery of this deck, because I did 29 days of melanated excellence celebrating Black History Month, and those melanated people that really contributed to our spirituality and, you know, things like that. So I just love that there were cards in here, a lot of them, of people like Black Herman was a person that I talked about in a video, and he was on this deck, and he was literally a magician and a root worker and things like that. So I love that. Like, I loved how this deck was speaking to me before I got it in my hands. This is a game changer. This is a forever. I love it because it so relates to my cultural practices and things of that nature. Like, I love this deck. I love this deck. I can see myself in this deck and things of that nature. It's why I love it so much. It's mass produced, is readily available. I love that the creator of this deck is African American herself. She's a Black woman. I love the artwork. I love everything about this deck. Like, there's nothing I don't love about it. And I'm so happy I got it. So definitely on the top 3 of my decks. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And did I say that I love it? Because I love it. So I love all these 3 decks. I love them so much. So those are my top 3 tarot decks. When I love, that I like to work the most with in my tarot practice. Now, my top 3 oracle decks. Okay. I'm going to say the psychic tarot. First of all, it was one of the first. So Angel Tarot and this deck got purchased together. So they were basically my first decks. I did use this deck for client reads when I first started for like 2 years exclusively. The Angel Tarot I used on myself, so on and so forth. And even though the artwork is not my favorite, this deck spoke to me from day one. I loved it. It got me into chakras, because there are like chakra cards and things like that. I always have gotten great readings with it. What ended up happening was I had stopped using it, and I felt bad about having it and not using it. So I gave it to my daughter. She used it. Then she stopped using it, and then she gave it to her friend, and then I lost the deck. And recently I've just really missed this deck, and I just ended up purchasing it, and I remembered how much I love it. So I've been using it in my practice. I completely love it. I'm going to keep it. I'm not giving this one away. Even if I stop using it, I am not giving it away. It was literally not this copy, but like my first deck, and I want to keep it. So because I still have my original Angel Tarot. So yeah, so that's the one. So it's the psychic tarot oracle deck. It's an oracle deck too, but it's a tarot deck, so that's why I put it under the oracle. This one was a game changer for me. It is the Sacred Path. Keep it in this beautiful, I don't know, I feel like it matches kind of. Ooh. And this is the backs. I love the guidebook. I feel like it connects me to my Native American ancestry, because I do work with my Indio spirits. I do have 3 main Native ancestor spirits that I venerate and honor on a consistent basis. And so I love using this deck. I love the guidebook. I've had a hard time connecting with any decks that are like shaman or whatever, but this one I didn't. Because I find a lot of them very new agey, you know, not to be mean or whatever, but in my personal opinion, some of them kind of, you know, new agey type of situation. And I found this one to just connect with me. It's a newer one, and things like that, but like I think I got it towards the end of last year, right before I started my deaf year. We're gonna make a video on that situation, but yeah, so yep, so that's my top 3 oracle. And then we have the last one for oracle is the, I'm gonna have the book here, energy oracle cards. This is the name of the person. And this one I've been using since the very beginning too. It's a second copy. My original copy got really messed up. The lamination was coming off. You couldn't shuffle it, like it was separated, whatever the case may be. This is the backs. I've used this on both client readings for myself and things of that nature. I love, these are the kind of oracle decks I like. So the Sacred Path is very high vibrational, very spiritual. I don't use it for like divination. The Psychic Oracle deck I do. The Energy Oracle deck I do. I like very balanced oracle decks that has light and shadow, not just like everything is beautiful, everything is wonderful, there's rainbows everywhere, yada do. Like, I don't like that type of deck. I like things that are imbalanced, because, you know, life is full of not so great things sometimes. So I love this deck a lot. I have used it both on myself and clients, and I love it. So it's a beautiful, I love this one. It's a beautiful, 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 and I love this card too. I completely love this one, and it's the Energy Oracle cards. Yeah, so I love this deck. I'm so glad I repurchased it. I think it was 2018 or 2019. Because like I said, my original copy got really messed up. I ended up still having the copy, but like keeping it and putting it away, but it was like unusable because it was like so beat up and everything. And then I ended up buying it about a year or 2 years ago, and I haven't stopped using it since then. Like, it's literally on my desk because I'm always using it. Like, I'm always drawn to pull from it and things like that. So those are the oracles. Now, when it comes to incense and resins, okay, I try to think of what are the incense that I use a lot of. And I have to say, because of the cultural practices that I have, I use a lot of coconut. I have like a whole bigger box in this, but I use, because a lot of the spirits that I work with in the Caribbean, in Afro-Caribbean spirituality, like we use cocoa a lot for a lot of shamanic and, you know, shaman, espiritismo healings. I use it a lot in spells. Like I use coconuts themselves in spells, coconut milk, coconut juice, like every, like, you know, incense, coconut, like every, like coconut is so heavily used in my practice, and so many of the spirits, the voodoo spirits, the santeria spirits, you know, the orishas, and ancestral spirits, they just really love coconuts. So I use this a lot in so many different forms. So it's definitely a scent that you will smell a lot in my home. And talking about my native ancestry, because the coconut very African based, a lot of my ancestors take that as offering, and things like that, is my money house blessing incense. It has vanilla, cinnamon, honey, and chamomile. So 4 different types of incense. I grew up with this. My mother always bought this at like those local like department stores kind of thing. I grew up with the spray and the incense, and she always had her indio in the door and her madama in the door. So she always, you know, would give her like cocoa or cafe, you know, and things like that, and, you know, coconut and coffee. And she will also give the native spirits incense. So she always had her 2 spirits on the door, protecting the doorways and things like that. This I use a lot of, which is frankincense as myrrh. As you can see, I need to refill it, but I use this a lot. This is literally from my working altar. I'm always burning frankincense and myrrh before I begin any type of ritual. I know a lot of people use sage. My thing is frankincense and myrrh and yerba santa. Like, I use those more than I use sage. Like, I use sage, but that's not the biggest thing in my practice, honestly. And then frankincense and incense, frankincense and myrrh incense. I use these a lot, especially this brand. I have to see if she's still selling this, because I got this from like a third party in Amazon, so I don't know if they're still selling. I gotta check it out. I do buy the frankincense and myrrh incense from Walmart too, and things like that, because you know, Amazon's not really delivering like that right now, so I have to wait till this whole thing is over. But it's just not as good as that one, so I'm babysitting like the last ones of that. But I use a lot of frankincense and myrrh, so I've been using a lot of resins versus the incense stick until I can replace the original one, because they're just the best of the best in my opinion. So frankincense and myrrh, coconut, and the money house blessing, those are my most used, not necessarily my favorite scents, but the most used incense and resins that I use. When it comes to herbs, we are using, herbs, I don't know, you could consider this herbs and curios, but I'm just going to say herbs. So agramonia, I use a lot of agramonia. Agramonia is used a lot. I'm all about protection work. So I use a lot of agramonia in my practice, heavily, before I do any type of work for myself or others, because I do work for other people. I use coffee. I just refilled this. Coffee, I use it in spiritual baths. I use it in candles. I use it in voodoo powders that I make. Like, I use coffee very heavily. Offerings. I mean, coffee is such a big thing in root work, in espiritismo, and voodoo, and santeria, and all these practices that I practice. Like, it's such a heavy, very powerful ingredients in any type of most spells. I use a lot of chili powder, both for healing purposes and not so much healing purposes. So I love using chili powder. As you can see, I have to refill it, which I will do after this video, but I use it heavily. So those are like my favorite, always using. The most used herbs, I use hyssop, will be like an honorable mention, but these are like, this is like from my mother, my grandmother, you know, and things like that. Like, it's very heavily used, and things of that nature. And now I'm gonna pause the video so I could show you, so I don't have to keep bending over. I'm gonna show you my 3 most used curios. So a staple for me in my practice when it comes to like curios is cotton, but not regular cotton balls, like the plant cotton. I use this a lot because I do serve a lot of native spirits, and I serve a lot of ancestral spirits, so African spirits from the diaspora. They used cotton a lot in their conjure work, in their santeria, in their voodoo practices. Like, this type of cotton is very sacred to make certain types of lights, certain types of lámparas, spiritual lamps, and things like that. So I use this very heavily in my practice, certain kind of conjure oils and things like that. So cotton plant is very heavily used for both healing and not so healing purposes, and things like that. Also, canfol, in the incense form or in its natural state. I use this a lot. It's very protective. It's so foundational in the Mesa Blanca and a lot of protection work and things like that. And last but not least, bluing. So I have the liquid form, and I also have anil, like in its regular form. I use this heavily as well in my practice. Like, it's such a big staple. This is all my mother, my grandmother, you know, this is like the old school stuff that they will use in their practice. So I love using it because it brings me back that whole feeling of home. I feel like when I use the tools that they used and the things that they have verbally and orally passed down to me, it's like I'm even though my grandmother's no longer with us, I can feel her, you know, so strongly around me, you know, and things like that. So these are area 5, my top 3 most used curios in my practice. Okay, and then my top 3 most used conjure oil. This is more for my personal practice because I feel like the things that I do for clients is personal, so I'm not going to be talking about that. My favorite has to be my this oil that came straight from Haiti. It's my voodoo oil. I use it very sparingly. This oil comes straight from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and it's only allowed to be made by Hougans and Mambos. So those are who have higher ranking in voodoo, and it's literally made in Haiti, and I got it from my society house. And again, this is only allowed to be made in Haiti. The ingredients are very secretive, and my mentor and my mambo gave it to me. There's tape on it because I don't want it to like get greasy on the bottom where I keep it at, because you know when you keep oil sometimes it gets greasy on the bottom and stuff. I like to keep her very clean, and she's a beautiful oil that you can use for medicinal reasons, as well as conjure. And this is straight from Haiti, and only those who are initiated into voodoo are allowed to know the ingredients. This oil takes a long time to make because it's prayed over and things like that. So, and then this is my holy oil. It's one of my top 3 used oils as well. It has 3 ingredients, secret ingredients in it. So this is a family recipe. So it's secret that you can only get in Israel. So this is something I'm using sparingly as well because, as you know, mail is not that great right now. But it has 3 very beautiful ingredients that I get from the Holy Land and things like that. It's my holy oil. And then the third one is my ancestor oil. And I love using it because, you know, my practice is heavily ancestral. So those are my top 3 used conjure oils when it comes to my personal practice. Okay, so now when it comes to area number 7, so we did the Haitian oil, which, like I said, actually was given to me by my voodoo house and my mentor, carried all the way from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. As well as I showed you guys my holy oil from the Holy Land, ingredients you can only get in Israel, and my ancestral oil that is a recipe that was given to me by the spirits. Area number 7 will be the tool. So I had to pause the video because I wanted to put the oils back because I don't even want them to spill. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like the ingredients that those oils have, I can't get to them easily right now. So I have to use them sparingly and all this kind of stuff. I don't know why the lighting is so wacky do right now. So, but we're going to keep on with the video. I'm going to change it, the setting on here because it's just acting weird. Yeah, there you go. It looks more like my natural coloring. Okay, sorry about that. So area number 7 will be tools, spiritual tools that I use. Oops, sorry about that. So I use a lot of novena candles in all various different colors. I just pulled out the white one because white is universal. You could literally give a white candle to any spirit and they'll take it. So I use a lot of novena candles in my spiritual work for myself and others. And I heavily used a lot vigil candles, figure candles, you know, those kind of things. So candles in general, very heavy in my practice. Also, I use, like I said, I also use figure candles and things like that for myself and clients. Picked a universally white one because we can all relate to white. But I use them in all different various colors, skull candles, cross candles, I mean, cat candles. I use all kinds of candles. So candles are like my top, like I use it a lot. I also use my hoodoo lamp. This one I need to clean. Like I just finished doing something in it. So I do a lot of spell work for myself and others in hoodoo lamps as well. Because there are spirits that I work with that they're so traditional. They prefer actual lanterns to candles, or if I'm not using a lantern, I'm actually creating my own spiritual light and hoodoo lamps and things like that. So so that's something that I do have to mention. And my third tool that I use a lot of is my machete. I use my machete a lot. I had to actually earn my machete in my cultural practices. So there is a spirit that's housed in this machete. This machete gets fed because it's actually, like I said, I asked the spirit permission. He said he doesn't mind being on camera. So I actually have a spirit in this machete, and I use it for certain rites and certain ritual practices in my spirituality. This is a real machete, so it can chop your fingers off, okay? So I use that. It is one of my favorite things to work with. I love working with the machete. I love dancing with the machete. Like, I work a lot with the machete, okay? So that's very heavily used in my practice. Now, when it comes to crystals, my top three most used crystals, crystals that have really changed my practice and things like that, I have to say the clear quartz. I have like 9 of these. I'm going to just show you one. The reason why you like a clear quartz, not that serious. When I did okay, so I have clients that I've actually traveled to perform either exorcisms or healing rituals for. In one of my travels, I'm not going to say the person's personal business, but I was doing something for them, and I had to do it face to face. And the group of people that I was with, we went to a church, and in the church they had crystals in a fountain of holy water, and we all pulled out some when we were doing, and we used this for the healing, like part of, like this was something that we used as part of the healing that we did on said person. And so this is why this is so sacred to me. It's always on my reading altar, because this one actually had holy water in it, and it was blessed by the Catholic Church. Like, they just had a whole water fountain of crystals that we were allowed to get. I've never seen that in a Catholic church, so I just find this so interesting, and it literally was life-changing for me, and I just use it a lot for protection, since that's what we were doing for said person and family. So labradorite is very life-changing. I completely love labradorite. I have a labradorite jewelry that I wear, necklace, ring. Labradorite is like my favorite all-time crystal. It's just so it's a shaman stone, so it has a lot of shamanic energy in it. I really feel close to my African and my native spirits when I'm holding a labradorite. And every time I'm doing any type of past life readings, work, or things like that, when I'm tapping into the other side, I love having labradorite near me. And selenite, I put it on all my decks, my working decks, like they all house some type of selenite. I have selenite in so many different forms, in its natural form, and things like that. I even use selenite when I'm doing readings in my beautiful selenite heart holder. I use it for meditations in heart form. Like, I have so much different types of selenite. It's very heavily used in my practice, as much as labradorite. And clear quartz is a heavily used one, especially these pieces. Like I said, they're so protective. I have them all over the place. And I even gave some to my kids too, because I took like 9. So that's crystals. Now, the 9th area we're going to talk about, okay, are my spiritual colognes. The ones, not necessarily always my favorites, but the ones that I heavily use the most. The ones that I love using, these 3, because they connect me to my mother and my grandmother. They always never went anywhere without it. Florida water, agua florida, very heavily used in Afro, Latino spirituality, Santeria, various forms of Santeria and things like that. And so Orisha veneration, voodoo, Haitian voodoo. When I talk about voodoo, I talk about Haitian voodoo. We use a lot of Florida water, especially for the Harada spirits, the cooler spirits. And Espiritismo is so heavily used. You will not see an Espiritita white altar without it. It's used in Conjure. It's also used Hoyt's cologne, which I don't use much. That's also one that's used in Conjure as well. But I like Florida water because I can use it in the various practices and different paths that I'm initiated to or grew up in and things like that. Another one is Bay Rum, which you can see I use a lot of. This is a new bottle that I just replaced the old bottle with, because I go through Florida water a lot. And I also use bay rum for offerings, for spraying around, for anointing myself with Florida water and bay rum. And I love this one because it's made in Puerto Rico. It's made in Ponce, Puerto Rico. So I love this brand. This reminds me a lot of my Haitian grandfather, my grandmother, and things like that. Just, you know, she would put herbs in it and do all this stuff to it. But I just keep it like this. But I love bay rum. And I noticed people told me in the comments that they use this a lot in other Caribbean islands. So yeah, so bay rum is a big thing. And any type of rose water. So agua de rosa. I use rose water a lot for offertories, for the spirits and things like that. So those are the most highly used spiritual colognes that I use in my practice. I even wear it on myself to kind of manifest certain intentions. So I hope you enjoyed this top 3 of 9s, Afro Latina, so African of the Caribbean, and Taino, Indian, Puerto Rican, Haitian. um, I don't know if it's a tag, but video, kind of just putting my own flavor and spin on and sharing parts of my cultural practices. I really hope that you guys will either comment in the comment section below or do a video of your own. I do not know why this lamp is doing 3 different colors. 1 minute I'm brown, I'm yellow, I'm orange, but we're just gonna move on from that. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and until the next video, and look out for the Tarot's Cancel tag that I'm gonna do. I'm in Mystic Soul Oracle's channel. I think I'm saying her name right. I'm gonna be doing that tag soon, so either gonna try to do it tonight, and then put it out during the week, so you guys can watch that. So stay tuned to that, and stay tuned to a bunch of fun videos that I have scheduled, because we're going back to our regularly scheduled program. So much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and until the next video, bye.